Hey everyone, and welcome to a brand new time-lapse video. Today's video is the largest single time-lapse project I've worked on in the history of this YouTube channel. I really hope you guys enjoy it. This project sums up over 40-ish hours of work building an insanely cool, Grecian world starting from nothing but a super flat Minecraft world. Today's video features the use of world edit as well as Joppa's new Minecraft textures. I wasn't a huge fan of them until I actually started playing with the textures, and I actually had a really fun time working with them. But anyways, guys, let's get into the build so we can actually see how this thing came together. Alright guys, so here we are starting out with our super flat world. We're using spheres of sand through world edit to create the general shape of our island here, so it's a lot easier to work with as they'll be all affected by gravity. We're going to have some sharper cliffs kind of around most of the island, and then a short area for a beached area to kind of come up where we're going to have the eventual city and things like that. After we nailed down the shape, we went ahead and brought in the water, covered the whole island in stone, and then did a slight overlay here using grass on everything that was stone just to kind of help bring that island feel in and really kind of naturalize it out. After that, we came back in, added a bunch of beaches in, and as you can see here, the base of our island is actually looking pretty freaking cool, and I'm really happy with the result so far. Now that the general shape of the terrain is in for the island, I went ahead and started working on the town straight away. And I want to start with the docks first. We started here with building two ships, a trireme, I think it's a trireme, and then we build a little fishing boat off to the side, or like a trade vessel or something like that to get around to different islands. We started here, so I knew we could have a lot of room for the town. I felt if we started with the docks, expanding up into the island would be really easy, and kind of more of a natural working from the outside going in. After that, we ended up building our first houses here, really starting to nail down this kind of Grecian, Mediterranean style that I wanted to go with. I wanted to go with something very light colored, but colorful still, and really adding a lot into the area. After we kind of nailed down the first ones, you can see here we went a little crazy and adding in a lot of different designs throughout the place, making it look really natural and kind of everything's just working with the terrain. And I love the end result we have here, and I'm really, really happy with this, and I definitely want to try and maybe recreate something like this later on. You guys will have to let me know if you think this style is worth pursuing again or not. But when the buildings are in place, I came back through and added a lot of little details like carts and benches and flower pots everywhere we can go. And that pretty much sums up building the town here itself. After this, we're going to be moving into tackling the fields. After finishing the town, we still had probably 60% of the island left to cover. It'd be cool bringing the entire city across, but I found through my research of kind of Grecian islands and things like that most of the islands are actually covered with a majority of fields because people needed a way of sustaining themselves on their different islands. Because back in the Grecian, Greek era, the ancient eras or whatever we want to call it, I don't remember the actual word for it, but they wouldn't be able to trade with each other constantly, so they had to have some way of living. So we went ahead and added some vineyards throughout here, because they needed their wine to live. And then we also added a big giant wheat field with a few houses scattered in it, just kind of as a way for people to be living in the field, so they didn't always have to be walking up from the town into the fields. I thought it was a really cool added way of mixing things up, and I just really liked it. Only having the small upper corner of the island left, I wanted to go ahead and create an epic temple up here. First, I tried going with a typical Parthenon design, but it came out being way too big and I felt it was pretty boring. So we ended up scratching that and coming up with a super cool diagonal temple design that I really think fits perfectly here in the corner, as it really kind of works with the terrain here instead of just kind of placing and building and hoping that it worked with the terrain type thing going on. I figured also, after we kind of go ahead and build up this temple here, we needed to go ahead and add something more interesting to the rest of the area instead of more fields or things like that, because this temple's up here, obviously it would have some temple grounds and things like that. So after we finish up the temple here, we're going to be moving into building some really cool little gardens and things like that, and adding in some more trees, bringing in a few more custom trees, adding a retaining wall, all this extra stuff. You can see our little garden there coming up and just kind of creating this cool little fountain pond area. We come up with a nice oak tree design that I'm kind of based on an olive tree almost, so I went ahead and pasted that guy around, just kind of making it more interesting up here, adding a lot of extra stuff. And we add a little shrine to like Poseidon or something like that. I felt like it came out really well, and we had that one last little spot right there, so we brought in another house. You know, why not? We need more houses. Now that our first island was done, I wasn't quite satisfied with it sitting out there in the water all alone with only a boat or two around it. We built this awesome city full of life and some great vineyards, a harbor built for trading, and an awesome temple up on the corner, but there's nothing really to anchor it into the world, so it felt like it was really lacking. It didn't have anything to interact with. So after we have this guy built up here, we're actually going to go ahead and kind of overhaul this whole thing and add in a few more islands to this area, just kind of create that whole atmosphere. Alright, we're going back to grabbing our sand sphere brushes here in World Edit and bringing in another island because I want to go ahead and, as I mentioned, anchor this into the world by adding more islands to the area. This time, we're going to go with a much smaller one, so it's a lot more manageable. By this point, we're actually already like 25 hours into the making of this, so I want to go ahead and speed it up and get this video out to you guys before it just kind of sat here for so long. Once we have the shape of this island, I went ahead and built a small lighthouse to help guide all the ships back home to the main city so you know they don't run into this little island right here. Now that we have the new island up and running, I wanted to start straight away on building a little town center on the far side of the lighthouse. I figured this was the flattest spot and it would be a great use for the space up here. I included a small little statue in the middle and started going crazy with a few different new house designs, all keeping with the same style of our main city. Once the houses were in, we wanted to go ahead and give this island its own unique good, its own unique trade source and resource, so we went ahead and used our lilac plant here and brought in a really cool field full of lilac plants, kind of making it look a little bit like lavender almost as a substitute for it. After that, we went ahead and finished off the rest of the island with another wheat field so they had some food, and added in a bunch more of those olive oaky trees. And I really think now that we have the second island complete, it still feels a little empty, so we got to go ahead and start adding in some more things outside. We had a little dock in here so you know we can connect it up and everything. In order to bring more life into this area, I decided to take the two boat designs that we have and start pasting them around, making it look like ships actually moving around in this area and really redesigning their sails to make it look like they're kind of moving around, catching the wind a little bit. But anyways, we went ahead and brought out our sand brush again and brought in here another third island. This time we're going off a little bit of a joke of a story I believe was from the Odyssey, where they land on an island full of pigs, and because some witch turned all the people there into pigs, I just thought it was a cool thing to add in. As we close out this video, I just want to say thank you all so much for watching this first epic time-lapse transformation video on the channel. I had a ton of fun building up this world, and it gave me so many ideas for things to do here in 1.13 once that releases, hopefully in the next week or two. This style is really quite easy to replicate, and I did create a massive city out of it, so I really hope you guys all enjoyed that journey with me today. Be sure to check out the world download that will be in the description below, as well as like the video if you did enjoy. It really means a lot to me when you guys show your support and want to help the channel grow. Anyways, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.